So today I'm going to introduce the chapter 1. 我们可以看到那个 slide， 在这个 iPad。
非常好喽。
好，那要怎么录？
已经录到开始录制，然后到时候结束的时候，然后就是长期，就是我们
那我录完以后，我要怎么上 iPad？
可能要上传，再把答案丢上去。
来，嘉怡，来，你告诉他，
那时候答案留下来可以把答案丢到 iPad 上面，对上传答案。
我知道吗？那你要不要带随身碟上来？
应该直接登录，然后丢就好了。
可以丢。
可以啊，那你再过来，我要把那组。
还是说你要上到 YouTube， 然后
也可以，我记得寄装处也可以，你跟把网址过去。对
啊，就丢网址会比较好。或者说，就说你把档案搂下来，因为在这边很恐怖，万一不见了，我就 trouble。他说啊，你英文上课你也没有证据，很恐怖。所以说，看 ，OK， 了，来。
So, 这个是 okay, sure. Okay, any question? The class know if you like to make a copy, please talk to the home fish, 嘉宇, right? The home fish, 嘉宇. Yeah, her nickname is called the home fish. Home fish, yeah, not school fish. Yeah, it's a good nickname. PowerPoint slide. So there will be Tombstone. So how many of you just first grader of your master degree? The first grader? Please, yeah. How many? Please raise your hand. Okay. How about the second grader? You? 1, 3, 4. Now you're first grader. You're first grader. So you're just writing thesis. Why do you want to take this course? Yeah, it's a torture, right? It's like a hell. Like a hell. Okay. Alrighty, and so I will finish the chapter 1 today, and I will finish chapter 2 that is called the agent system. The agent is this is a linchpin of the reinforced learning. So give you the idea, what is the agent system? Okay, artificial intelligence, chapter 1. Okay, what is the AI? So AI that is this is like a 60 or 70 years ago. There's so many scientists try to develop a system called a machine. They can mimic the behavior of human beings. So typically, we would like to compare what is artificial intelligence and the human intelligence. Intelligence versus the human intelligence. Yeah, human intelligence, we evolve over 5,000 years. Then we're going to give you the brief history about the machine, intelligent machine. Then what is state of the art? State of the art typically called soda. Like a transformer, there is a refer to the soda for classification. Soda, that means the state of the art. So system that think like human, we call the reasoning, think. So typically artificial intelligence, this is like a pyramid. So what is the foundation of the artificial intelligence on the bottom? Actually, this is a storage. And the computing, right? Computing power, computing capability. So compared to human, so our storage is quite limited, and the computing power is quite limited as well. When you like to do the calculation, like a calculation tournament with a human versus a machine, that's totally way beyond. So things like a computer, we have a storage, we have a CPU, so the human being always compete the way off with the machine. Then there's AI. Then the next level, recognition. Recognition. Like a system, they take a picture, they can make a film, so can recognize how many students, how many boys, how many girls in the room, or in the picture, or in the photo. Okay? Then we call it recognition. However, we only can recognize how many, what is the foreground, what is the background. Background, and how many rabbits, how many dogs in the foreground. Background, the tree, is a zoo or in the pound. So this recognition. Then reasoning. Recognition. Yeah, reasoning. Reasoning. When we recognize, we can or call it inference. Yeah, there's a girl in the picture. She's smiling. We assume, so we take the inference. She might be happy or not. Or there's an old man just walk on the stick, the walking stick, suddenly, so he changed the position. So it's a fall. It suddenly just fall down the floor. So maybe there's an urgent situation for that old man. So this is so my conjecture, or perform the reasoning, the current situation of the people. So called the inferencing or reasoning, right? Recognition. Or before that, there's still one thing, sensing, called sensing. Yeah, there's another level. There's another level. Sensing. Sensing, I'm sorry. Sensing. So I sent, well, this is a chili. We sent, there's a girl passing by. How many cars in the parking lot? Then the next level, sensing, recognition, reasoning. Yes. Yeah, would like to thinking, communication. And the thinking. Yeah, if there's a rain, there's a rain coming, then we need to take the umbrella, or we take the raincoat, or we take the shelter. So this is this is thinking and communication. Then the next level will be the best. This is the best value of the human being. It's called the creation. So something is quite difficult since right now I think we just put the human being above this level. Yeah, around here. We above around here. We are here. We are here. There's still a long way to go, so we call it quite a narrow AI. We call it narrow AI. Now we just evolve into we wish the generative AI. So we wish going for the artificial. I'm sorry. AGI, General Intelligence, artificial general AGI intelligence. Okay, so this is a progression we try to make in the following 2 to 3 years. So system that think human, system that can think rationally, like this is a rationally, so they can thinking. The system that act like a human, this is like a robotic, right? RPA, robotics, like the human can walk, think, and handle RPA. Robotics, process, automation. Systems that act rationally, so we can influencing based upon the feedback coming from the environment, since we interact with the environment. That's called the augmented intelligence. System can rationally, this is called the augmented intelligence. Okay. So back in this Turing, the computing machinery and the intelligence. So can machines think? So this is almost 70 or over 70 years ago. computer machine learning intelligent, can machine think, can machine behave intelligently. So when we communicate, so we do the experimentation. And there's a human interrogator, there's a communicator or the negotiator, and there's a brain in between. So there's a human just directly talk to the interrogator, and there's also system, AI system, who got together sometime. This the alternating either the human or AI system communicating with the human interrogator. So we let the interrogator to decide, are they talking to machine or talking to the man? So finally predict that. The operational test for intelligent behavior. This is a limitation game. This is like this taking place in the room, and predict that by 2000, and the machine might get only 30% chance of fooling a layperson right here for 5 minutes. Later, the interrogator, the human will understand, wow, no, this is not a human. There's a machine I'm dealing with. So only take 30% of that, only take the 5 minutes at that time. This is not that easy. Like we talk to somebody in the web or through the internet. Yeah, I think maybe 20 seconds I understand either machine or either human being. That's so easily identified. And anticipated or major argument against AI in the following 50 years, back in the 1950, 70 years ago. Right now, today is 2023, about the 50 years. So suggested major components of AI, including the knowledge, reasoning, knowledge is right here. So really, then the knowledge can be formed and can be captured. And reasoning, the language understanding is right here. Language understanding. Natural language processing and learning. So actually, we learn by doing, do by learning. Finally, just evolve into the creation. So problem, Turing test is not reproducible. It's constructive, quite constructive, and or amenable to mathematical analysis. So understand. That's why. Later on, the scientists try to analyze the human brain to construct the neural network. The neural network totally developed based upon the human network. Then, to let the machine think like a human. So later, 1960, cognitive revolution. Cognitive revolution is referred to information processing psychology, replace prevailing orthodoxy of the behaviorism. So this is like a psychology, the evolution of the psychology progress. Requires scientific theory of internal activity of the brain. This is in the 1960s. What level of the abstraction? So how can we summarize? How can we get the notion and the concepts then about knowledge or the knowledge? So we try to understand how the knowledge and the conclusion the human made of. Then there's a circuit. So that's why there's a neural network, there's a neuron and the layer. the several different layers, the different neurons. So how to validate require predicting and testing behavior of the human subject top down. That's why we collected so many data, a bunch of the data, then the data should be decomposed into 3 different, there's a whole data set needs to be just cut into like this. So this training data, and some portion is for validation data. And finally, there's only small portion for testing. Typically, this is a common day about 6 to 70%, and the remaining is about 30 to 40% for testing. So second, directed identification from the neurological data. This is from the bottom up. So predicting and testing behavior of human subjective is conducted in a top-down manner, directly identified for the neural data. This is from the bottom up. So which will be addressed later in the following homework. So both approaches, roughly cognitive science and the cognitive neurosciences. So cognitively, we just retract the signal and the reaction of the neural system, then and the predict. So what kind of summary we try to achieve? So both share with AI the following characteristics. The available theories do not explain. So the current is very difficult to predict, even though until now. So we have so many models, which is still very difficult to we can do the prediction. However, for the explanation and the interpretation of the result, how can be that success, or how can be that without success? This is very difficult to explain until now. So anything, or in gender, anything resembling human level generate intelligence. So that's how. Maybe 20 years ago, we still humans still devoted to the analytical analysis. Now, we instead, in the recent 10 years, we prefer focusing on the rule-based or called the statistical learning. Instead of statistical analysis. So statistical analysis will only collect a bunch of some quite small data, quite limited data. Then that's it. So there's a model based. So this is a model based. On the contrary, statistical learning, we just keep collecting data from time to time, like streaming data. They will continuously or intermittently to fed into the learning model. So this is called the rule base. So this is major difference between the statistical learning and statistical analysis, like multivariate analysis, parametric analysis, non-parametric analysis. So hence all three fields are share one principal direction. So we try to push the human being toward to the if the machine can automatically or intelligently help people to do something we're quite familiar with. This is the first direction. Second direction is something we don't know yet. If the AI can help us to explore something unknown. So there's the two major directions why we use the AI to help human beings.
operative or prescriptive rather than descriptive?
Prescriptive, that means we're going to express what is going to happen, why is it going to happen, how it's going to happen. Instead of, well, okay, it looked like this is the result, and this is something we already know. So Aristotle, what are correct arguments, thought, or thinking processes? So several Greek schools developed various forms of the logic. So sometimes we always try to think of what is the logic. Once the logic can just embed into the machine, then creation is possible. So notation and the rule of derivation of thought. Is that possible? That's how. It won't matter. It is a neural network or a fusion model or transformer. Try to think. So do the self-attention from the different segment of the whole the language segment that can be extract the important message of the human. That's how we can respond to human requests. And AI problems, okay, so then may or may not have proceeded to the idea of the mechanization, so directly linked to the mathematics or philosophy to modern AI. So the problem is, the first one, not all intelligent behavior is meditated or mediated by logical deliberation, like art. So when you go to the art school, can do those crazy artists? They can be rationalized by using the scientist rule. Actually, not. So this is problem number one. So what is the purpose of thinking? What thoughts should I have out of the order, so logical or otherwise I could have? For example, something you run the campaign, presidential campaign. We like to have something to express my notion and express the something we like to, how I govern the future of the nation, of the country. So sometimes totally beyond the logic. So rational behavior, doing the right thing. This is rational, doing the right thing. So there's a decision making, doing the right thing. So versus do the thing right. So this is quite differently. The do the right thing, the decision making like a scientist, like a computer scientist, and the do the thing right is like an industrial engineer. Yeah, it's totally different. And the right thing, which is back to maximize the goal achievement given available information. So when we just look at the entire plan, entire country or entire universe, so the decision rule will be different from one to one, totally. So the objective function will be different, right? When we try to maximize the sales of the laptop, of the iPhone, or any electronics appliance. So sometimes, so it is a perspective for doing a business or entrepreneur. However, be a leader of the United States of America or the president of America to the president of a country, a big country in the world. Sometimes you have a different thought. So objective function, so consider, so what is the power consumption, what is the nuclear economy. So we like to have a low carbon emission, net zero, and then we like to have a, so we're going to follow the SDG and the ESG reward to make the whole the society more green, living in more green, and doing the business more green, or something like that. This is totally different than. So doesn't necessarily involve things like blinking, reflex, but the thinking should be in the service of the rational action. So that's how. Now we're thinking how AI can help us to make the earth, to make the society, to make the country more sustainable. More sustainable. Okay. So Aristotle so gonna every art and every inquiry and similarly every action and the pursuit is a sought to aim and is some good things. So agent, this is important. We'll talk about some idea about the agent. So an agent is an entity that perceives and acts, receiving the response from the environment. So this is like an actor and a critic. Critic is something like criticism from the environment. Yeah, no, now you're not doing well. Then get a response. Then we're going to change the way I think or change the way I operate in terms of the critic. And how can I change? So we're going to have a loss function, or we have or a different type of function that's going to manipulate the direction of the house we should change. So provide the actor. So this is called the actor. And the actor provide action. Actor provides a critic, provide the feedback. So abstractly, an agent is a function. Actually, is mathematically it is designed as a function from the percept the history. This continues just since there's a sensor in the universal manner. So every possible location or any possible time or any possible location, we can sense the feedback from the environment. So from the percept history to the action, the feedback to the action. This perceive, and can we just perceive the best possible optimal the perception and provide the action function. So for any given class of environment and task, we seek the agent or class of it. There's so many. The agent like this. So there's an AGV. We will try to just walk out of the maze, or there's a mouse, or there's a mice they put in the maze. So like to walk out. Can you? The rat can make out make it work out the maze in 3 hours. So there's an objective function. So we seek the agent with the best performance. So caveat. So computational limitation make perfect rational unachievable. So with quite limited resources. So if you like to do this, the computing power and the computing capability of the first priority we should have. So design the best program for given machine resources. That's how. Even though reinforced learning is not that popular due to going to consume the too much computing power and the computing effort. So this is AI prehistory. I'll give you a quick. The first of philosophical logic, the method of the reasoning, the mind as a physical system, and the foundation of the learning, language, rational. So we already mentioned right here. Mathematically, so for formal representation and the proof. So as long as you can prove that, this is stability and consistency. Sometimes AI will try to prove two things: consistency. Consistency will always chasing the best results. And stability, it cannot fluctuate up and down to aberrantly, to fluctuating or too vibrantly. So consistency and stability. The formal representation proof algorithms. So we have too many algorithms. Typically, we have two things. This is aggregation based. Or distance based machine learning. Typically, this is aggregation based. Aggregation based. Like C 4.5 decision tree, era boost, cat boost, and extreme gradient boost, and adaptive boost. Yeah, something like that. This aggregation based, or random forest. Yeah, the aggregation based, or like something like a distance based. Like a support vector machine, or TSNE, or principal component analysis. Distance, like we calculate the mean, the k means, or k and the k nearest mean, or something like that. Okay. Are you guys familiar with those things I mentioned? Are you? I think you do, right? 都知道吗？哦，哎，你是哪个实验室？啊？这样什么谁的学生？让我知道可以了。跟老师啊。你呢？
可以不说。
有什么关系？
那个资材，然后那个实验室是翁老师。
OK， 这什么关系 ？OK, whatever. OK, sure. And okay, then. Okay, this is something, a computation, decidability, traceability, probability, something that's based upon the probability distribution. So kind of adaptation and the phenomena of perception and the motor control. Sometimes we set up the motor control to perform the action, and experimental techniques. So DOE will be important as well, design of experiment. So this course is offered in the IEN department by the Professor Yongjin Park. I believe he does it. In this semester? No. Does this course offer? No. No? In this semester? No. Experimental design. Does it? Yes, yeah, it's a good course. Even though, well, I know, Yeah, he's a very good professor. And economics, formal theory of rational decision, linguistic, knowledge representation. So knowledge representation, yeah, let me say that. Knowledge representation. Okay, let me finish this. Knowledge representation gives different neural network can do that, do the decoding, encoding, and the decoding. So I think the autoencoder can be possible. Encoder. Okay. Then the grammar, neuroscience, plastics, physical substrate for the mental activity, control theory, the homeostatic system stability I mentioned right here, the stability and the simple optimal agent design, like a Gaussian design, self-tuning design, minimum variance design. Okay, so they belong to another course I offer in the next semester called the time series control. Okay, we take a break.
需要个 AI 在旁边辅助。哎，这个不是啊。
有进步，没有我进步之后就会，我进去后好，那我要说好，
我有去问你们下面，说到我一天，
还是你在这边，你在这边可以吗？
可是老师都跟你讲这个，我看到的可以。
哦，我先给你拿过来，是那个点。
我那这个很好控制，他的控制另外方法说，我把他的程式，就是我把允许到然后程序员变动不是，
你先把它，你先不要讲，先把它。
我试了2个月，发现。
哎，你们真的都要修，你们都不退选？谁叫你们选？你们老师是谁？修啊！那自己去跟他讲。
真的哦，没有学会当人，我跟你讲。
你干嘛来修这个？很麻烦。
他是他唯一的要求。
没办法，我也不想强害你。哎，你们都是啊？你是谁？啊？那一定要。他是我兄弟，一定要来。他有几个学生？只有你来。那你能倒霉，其他2个为什么不来？下学期。
这学期没有啊。
上家是你是谁？休假4个。5个。怎么可以？有6个。我们外籍生不能换啊，我们是万国来朝啊，不一样。怎样说啊？他是别人对不对？
没有挂你自己的。
应该是不可以吧？好吧，你们不要去劝告老师，那你会被骂。有时候老师也没有办法被说服。
对，老师。
太精彩了，受不了。现在问题也好不了啥。
我就发觉了。 礼拜每个人都要来这里，知道吧？那个佳玉要帮我点名，啊，就做那个点名单来签名。哦，好，佳玉是这一门课的那个班长，对，那你要做那个签名单。
做签名。
要做签名，每一次都要。然后上面写日期，然后期末的时候再交给你。有代签要跟我讲，代签我们就把它公布出来，然后去告诉校长。我告诉他爸妈。
我给他，我说一个那个网
啊，输钱啊，怎样啊？买书不用钱啊？
对吗？
买书不用钱啊？
因为我是之前。
对啊，我知道，你们刚有问吗？学讲述的时间是好，比较好。不错吧？不错吧？
真是就这些人都很忙。收1500没有找的啦。
真的？
啊，没有不行啊。
不错啊。
哎，你们是真的有修哦？
对啊。
真的哦。啊，写作业啊，你们2年级我也不会放过你们。
哦，那个作业变成只有6个作业，没有
没有，就是会不会是6个作业不知道。
会有更改的作业，
没有考试，就是考来考去吧。
刚才问我问题。
考完考过，没有作业
但是是每个要做出。那会看你那个
算我自己，
你修过那个？没有，他有开啊。
对，我为了上那个粉丝会指导学校的一些，可是
你不是邱老师的学生？跟老师说，跟老师会考的一些。哦，那你是哇？那你
我想因为我只会做而已啊，是有点模型啊，然后预测，我想要辅理。
有时候傻板，
基本就知道调参数在干嘛。
光调参数，了解，你这样想，不要太在意分数。为什么每个老师其他人都打90分，你都打7、8分，不要太在意。
我也看不到其他分数。
所以在意这点就是。
对。
我想开心。
人家硕士班都给我搞，珍珠奶茶1杯就100。
我现在没喝珍珠奶茶。
对不对？你去看那个拉米狗1场也是500。
我也没有看。
然后傻，然后什么？
是去看狼的狗的
什么？
就不是去看狼。
有啊，春水堂啊，还130呢，对不对？是啊，春水堂还130，要吧？你是谁？春水堂1杯130，而且还是免费。然后你看。你去看拉米狗，一张票500，然后你总是要吃喝，那天晚上就1000了。这本书1300，可以跟你费，有什么不好？那你们这价值观完全扭曲，对不对？是不是？
对。
是不是？是不是？双辉对不对？ 哪有贵啊
1380。
公块，管我，
我这我也是关系
28，什么？
对，这个上次你说的，我要去知道分析，让我看本期，281老师，
知道我刚才还有什么？
就是那个上次你们那个，
好像就齐吧。就跟选语言有差不多啊。
就是非常。
没有道理啊！你看，你会从来女朋友，她好想你看，简讯放掉，我放掉，对不对？我不能决定你身旁，我不能替你决定你身旁没有人，但是我确定可以确定身旁有人，对不对？是不是这样？是假的。
我少1块钱，之后再那个，我刚2块。
好，上课。讲那个钱收的差不多，哎，你不能少收哦。
应该是不会少收。
对，
不然超多钱。
会不会怕？
不然，我都没钱。
对啊，要不要拿这些挡一下？
当做
吃饭。
到时候就捐款。
捐款啊？
对啊。
来坐吧。Okay, back to
The potted history, some highlights of the AI. So I think this will be most prominent, like Turing computing machine intelligence. And the lights maybe 60, Dartmouth, artificial intelligence, doctor, and AI, in here, I think will be most prominent. AI discovered computational complexity. At that time, neural network research almost disappeared at that time. Why? Since the computing power does not strong enough to offer the computational efficiency. And the lights early development knowledge-based system at that time. We call this is the case-based reasoning, and the expert system 80 and 88. When I was an undergraduate student at Tonghai University at that time, there's a programming language that's called Lisp. Or Prolog. This is an AI programming language at that time called the Lisp. Back in the 80 and 88, expert system industry, the busted AI went light, and the neural network 88 to 95 neural network returned to popularity. So we have a better computing power then. So resurgence of probability generally increased the technical depth. That's how the statistical learning emerges. And the neuron, the AI, and the gas, soft computing, GA, soft computing, light agent, the agents, and everywhere at that time, back in the 1995. And the 2003 human levels AI back on the agenda. Now we just change the content a little bit. So the focus we call the human-centered AI. The human-centered AI. So visual filing can be done in present, play a decent game of it. Well, yeah, so this is safely, so I'm going to just skip it very quickly. Alright, so yeah, like this. Drive safely on the Telegraph Avenue. So there is some track. Yeah, there's some track on the road. And buy a week's worth of the grocery on the web. So this is this is called the helper in your app, or there's a helper in your iPhone. So buy and play a decent game of bridge. So there's this particular back in the 2017, the AlphaGo, right? AlphaGo. So actually, AlphaGo, this is they play so many different philosophy of the deep learning. So AlphaGo, actually, they just input the professional expert, the historical plot. So they use. So I would say let's not reinforce learning. That call expert. First of all, they use a Monte Carlo tree. Oh, Monte Carlo search. And also, so they always use, they also take the reinforcement. And the later, they always use the statistical learning and the probabilistic decision making. Okay, something like that. So this is how AlphaGo may be so successful. And Berkeley born discovered two new mathematical theory. Okay, design, execute a research program, molecular biology, write an intentional funny story. So now you just hook on. You just log in your ChatGPT, even though you write a point, write a personal resume, or write a story by yourself by ChatGPT. That quite just a one click away. So give complete agent legal advice in the specialized area of law, so all the cases already appear to the web. So the ChatGPT 3.5, all the data just fed in, just all the data before 2021. So they all fed the data into the transformer for training. No, not transformer. Into the reinforced learning that's called the PPO, proximal policy approximation, try to rank. So what is a possible, the outcome of the query based upon the ranking, So transformer, then simultaneously we feed the data until the 2021, then we perform the hyperparameterization in the transformer by self-attention. So give the competent legal advice in specialized, yeah, and translate spoken English into the spoken Swedish. So all the language can be done. So converse successfully with another person for an hour. So just do the translation then, or write the so just a convey or orator, so or narrator all the presentation into the text, and perform a complex surgical operation. Yes, will be our future. Then I wish it will not come true very soon. So this is kind of scary, right? So sometimes we just go to operation. So how can you imagine there's a artificial intelligence to perform the surgery for you? So I'm gonna get scary, totally scary. We'll get the shit out of that. So, yeah. Then unlearning dishwasher and put everything away. Yeah, sure. Yeah, this can be done. Okay, risk and benefit of the AI. So first of all, first solve AI, then use AI to solve everything else. So this means Sabathis, CEO of the Google DeepMind. Originally, this is DeepMind, and then OpenAI evolved from the DeepMind. Then benefit decrease repetitive work, that's for sure. That's called assisted intelligence. Yes, assisted intelligence. Try to, since the human being have done this work very efficiently and very familiarly, so why we should just devote put much of the time on that? So we already know, and then we rather like the artificial intelligence help human being to process those repetitive and the routine works. Increase production of the goods and service, of course, like the chatbot, like the automation, we do the digitalization. We used to buy the grocery. We just drove to the mall or to the supermarket. Now we don't do that, since once in a while, just one click away. So by using the we call the e-commerce. They can do all the stuff, and then there's an app, and then we can get together to get a good pricing to the web. So it's based upon intelligence. Or sometimes when you buy something like this, and they push the most recent information about the similar product of this one. So this is based upon the bidding system that embed in the Google. This is embedded in the Google system. So accelerate scientific research, of course, the disease cure. So it's kind of like a brute force. So can calculate very quickly, since once we just input some knowledge we already know. We call the neuroscience or call the cancer. So we try to solve cancer. Until now, this is an unsolvable disease. So then the artificial intelligence, like the DGX workstation, this is unlimited power, unlimited computational power, try to resolve the complexity of that disease of the formula. That's how. This is why we want to use the AI to solve in the medical system. So accelerate scientific research, disease cure, climate change. So collect the data. So today's crime is so different from the one like 50 years ago, back in the 1970s, due to the climate change. Precipitation maybe 10 times or even 20 times the heavier than before. So how the human being, how the country can deal with that climate change. So data collection, the climate change prediction, and resource shortage solution. In the future, due to the progress and the advance of the big data analytics and artificial intelligence, everybody can live up 90 for sure. However, the food shortage will be the crisis, right? The natural resources like electricity power or the water. So that will be the key of the literature sources we can live on. So risk lethal autonomous weapon like a drone. Usually we don't have to drive a fighter to come back in the air. No, this is unmanned. The airplane, the bomber. Yeah, this is the big power like China or the United States. So unmanned, the fighter, jet fighter. This is several movie. So the jet fighter, unmanned jet fighter can took off from the carrier. So do the bombing and do everything we like. Surveillance and persuasion in China, so everybody needs to have an account. Otherwise, you're going nowhere, right? Surveillance. In the future, maybe there's a chip injection for everybody. So you don't have to carry your own ID. So going to detect your face to your retina or the fingerprint. So biased decision making, of course, once the data are collected, controlled by the government, you're going nowhere. So believe me, sooner or later that day will come very soon. So yeah, like a Matrix, the Keanu Reeves, there's a something, or Fighting Angel. Do you see that movie, Fighting Angel? No, this is like 3 or 4 years ago. I forgot this, the Fighting Angel. The Zarin, there's like the Fighting Angel. What is the name of that? Natalia or something. 战斗天使, right? Yeah, there's a This is a good movie. That would be our I forgot her name. However, the Fighting Angel something. They're based upon the animation, the title from Japan. And the impact on employee safety, critical application, cybersecurity threat. Okay, so development of an artificial intelligence super like a Zarin. Yeah, there's all the people need to support in it. So there's like a Matrix, like Zarin in the Fighting Angel. So once in a while, we're going to contribute our effort to the Zarin. So there's a control system, the fighting in the air. Yeah, I hope you won't come. And that will surpasses human intelligence, may pose a significant risk. So have you the Will Smith movie called the iRobot? Yeah, the iRobot, the robot army of the 2 generations. The old robot, the army, the protected human, and the new robot generation try to take it over, so they battle, right? So analogous to guerrilla problem. So there's another series of movie, the ape, that take the control, right? So what is the name of that? The series? 决战星球. Yeah, the monkey become the president of the country, right? The gorilla and the human and gorilla. What do you call it? Okay, I don't know. And human evolved from the same species, and but human have more control than the other primates, of course. And we should design AI system in such a way that do not have end up taking control in any way. The Turing suggests they might. That's why we just put all the AI in the fattest development. However, we still under our control or our manipulation. That's why I call this is what is that? Human center. Moral Bobo. There is. Where is the human-centered AI? Somewhere else. Yeah, right here, the human-centered AI. The only way we can live up to. So. Okay, then we go to the Professor Tsai's the class notes. Okay, so this is chapter 1. There's a, I think you can log into the. No. Okay, I mean this slide. This is already available in the iSchool, right? Have you seen that? So you can just see that this is not downloadable, and you just browse into the internet, no problem. So I will talk about chapter 2 and chapter 3 next time. So you need to be here. Okay, look at something. Not going to. Can everybody watch it? Can you see that? Can you see that? Yes. That's why you need to make a copy of that. Can you see that in the iSchool? Yeah, okay. Thank you. And this this emulate the human's brain, the structure of human brains, and this percept. So, why the linear algebra is important? So that's I always convince students to take the linear algebra. Why? So all the neural network is another representation of the linear algebra. So, like to build your own foundation for the artificial intelligence, you need to have a calculus integration, and take the derivative, and the linear algebra to dealing with the matrix, vector, linear combination, what is the subspace and null space, or something. So need to understand. And matrix manipulation, calculate the inverse, pseudo-inverse, and what is the eigenvalue, what is the eigenvector. If you do not have it, please be sure to have it very soon, in a very short period of time. And you also like to have a probability a background, like what is a sampling distribution. So what is a PDF probability density function? So what is a PNF probability mass function? And what is a CDF cumulative distribution function? And anything else? Then probably and the inference statistic and the descriptive statistics. And for like this, we need to understand what is the drop off and what is steady descent, steady ascent, they call the gradient. The gradient. So this is related to the course of the mathematical programming or nonlinear programming. That's the foundation of the artificial intelligence. Otherwise, once you only adopt the model and return those successful results, you're going to end up no reason. You do not understand how. Oh, wow, I'm so lucky. The God loved me, give me so good result. Actually, do not understand or do not know how to explain that. Unluckily, if you get some result, not so unwanted. So you still do not know how to explain. How could I deserve this and with this unsuccessful result? So linear algorithm. This is perceptron. This is input. So input could be the signal data, or it could be the temporal data. So the temporal, that means that's which is related to time. Related to time. Or spatial data. No, first spatial data. It's related space or location. And spatial this is related to time and also related to the space, so location. Sometimes we collect the data when you use a GPS, you're driving a car, or this is landslide, or there's or flooding, or there's an earthquake. Those data is about time, also about the location, like Yilan, Taipei, Nantou, Fuxingxiang, or something else that's related to the time or the related to the location. That's how the flooding can be analyzed, the earthquake can be analyzed, or the tornado or the typhoon can be analyzed. So it can be temporal data, or it can be an image. So image like this is the n by n. The n by n. So this is from the top to the bottom and to the left to right, and extend to. When we read that, they extend into the one-dimensional vector. This is the n by n, a vector of n by n. Of size. This is n by n. So just stretch into the one-dimensional and the input into that. However, we know the size. Okay, this is input and this is the output in between. So there's something we like to do to predict over to the data representation. There's something. So this is perceptron. Actually, this is so every line or there's a link between any two nodes. Each one called a node, a neural node. Or called a neural node. So this is called the weight. Called the weight. So in the linear algebra, actually, which is linear combination. So in linear algebra, So the problem is, how can we have an input and we have an output? Is that possible for the scientist or engineer to find the best linear algebra or linear combination? And then that can give the best representation of the input data between the input data and the output data. That's it. So this solve the linear problem, solve the linear algebra problem. And so this is y equal to the w. This is y, and this is the x. The w is a y transpose. This is called the transpose. This is a matrix to the transpose. So this is called a weighting. The weight matrix. So this is any possible link, n by n, and 1, 1, 2. So how many node you define? And B is called the residual. Residual. So if it's only one layer, and residual should be explained by the second layer. So this is the first layer, second layer. This depends. That's why how we call the deep learning, since sometimes the simple structure won't explain or represent the complexity or the functionality between the input and output. So residual should be explained by for the following more neural layer. So that's one of the deep learning called the residual net, right? Yeah, there's something, right? And then we have a VGG, we have a residual net. Yeah. So like this, or Z, so Y equals the F of the Z. So the Z going to the linear combination of this one, the W1, X1, W2, X2, WK, XK, plus the B residual, the linear combination. So into a block diagram, so this is a processing unit. So actually you don't know how to process, you don't worry about that. And there's in the TensorFlow level, this is input, the W1, this is called the summation, right? The linear combination. So this is the summation, And then they would like to fine-tune the output, since they would like to afterward before the classification, before classification. Before classification, then there's a fully connected network, and we compute a probability corresponding to the softmax, and then probability going to assign which class it belongs to. Softmax is the probability. So output and the activation functions. Since why sometimes if there's a 2D or too many deep learning too deep. Deep that means not too that deep. There's a too many layer. Sometimes there is called the gradient vanish. So you need to activate like an electrical trigger to let it to reactivate, called the activation function. To the gradient vanish. The gradient. So the gradient is like this is gradient. take the partial derivative. This is great. So activation, we have a ReLU, rectified ReLU, we have an add-in, hyperbolic tangent, yeah, sigmoid. So a period called the MLP, the multi-layer perception. Multi-layer perception. Yeah, this sometimes the NLP cannot be referred to the DNN, deep neural net. So deep, that means the deep, that means the single layer with a really with a many neuron. However, deep, that means we have a multiple called a hidden layer. So hidden layer. So deep. Always refer to how many hidden layers you have. So like this, then the good for vector value data. Vector values is a feature are needed. So before we fed into that, we need to understand that so the feature engineering should be conducted. The feature. So actually, there's three different principles for feature engineering. You know, where are they? Anything? Does everybody know that? Hey guys, do you know what is feature engineering? The first one called the filter method. The filter like F or the T, or called a single ratio comparison, called the filter method. Second, called the wrapper method. Since there's an abundant number of the possible feature in the model, like a random forest, like a logistic regression, or extremely gradient extremely gradient boosting. So in comparison, the model try to build a classification model. Meanwhile, they also calculate the importance, the relative importance of all the features considered in the model. That's called a wrapper. So they perform the feature importance and the model building at the same time. So which is referred to the wrapper method. The last one called the embedded method. Embedded method. like a stepwise, like a lasso, LASSO, the lasso. The first of all, just incrementally add or incrementally delete those features and to evaluate how significance of that feature being added or deleted from the current model. So this is called the embedding method. So feature engineering should be conducted before perform any big data or AI projects. So, which is called the feature engineering. So it learns the connection weights. So when we set up those, so actually you don't know what is the best neural network structure for this. That's how we try to manipulate. So like 3 hidden layer, is this good enough? However, sometimes we afraid of something we would that we encounter. They call the overfitting, right? And the underfitting. Underfitting. So what is overfitting? So during the training, we just design more Byzantine meticulous discrepancy between the data. So we care too much the details, and then we overfit it. So we perform good in the training process. However, sometimes when we try to test something we never seen before, and then we perform badly, perform really poorly. So called the overfitting. Overfitting. It does not produce a generalization, generosity. So overfitting is the lack of generosity. Generality. Yeah, of course, underfitting. Yeah, this come to way off. Well, the model the way too simple, and then it doesn't capture the spirit or capture the complexity of the data. It cannot explain the variability within the data. So that's called the underfitting. It does not capture of the data. So like this is the non-deep feed-forward neural network. This is called the input layer. This is the output layer. This is a hidden layer. So this is deep neural network, the hidden layer 1, hidden layer 2, hidden layer 3, and so on and so forth. The hidden, that means the deep refers to how many hidden layers you have. Yeah, God bless you. Any questions so far? So, and convolutional neural networks. So it is a particular design for image processing. The input will be image. However, which can be also adapted to dealing with the the time series data we call the 1D CNN. So there's several variants, the 1D CNN. Of course, there's a 2D CNN. And then we have a 3D CNN. So, can you imagine what is a 3D CNN? 2D, that's the image for sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's 2D, right? The image, yeah, this is a clip of the film, the first. So for each second, go to 16 frames. So there's 3D. The first one, 1D, 2D, and the 3D. So like this. For 1 second, we have a 16 frames, right? 3D, so the 3D, we call it frame. Image, we couldn't do it with the frame. The 1D just a stretch into the one direction and which can accommodate the variation of the time series data. Sometimes some time series data, there are two particular design, deep learning that can be used to deal with. So time series data, there's something, the first one called the recurrent. Recurrent neural network. I call the R. And which can also be the optional approaches for the time series data and the LSD and long. Sure. Time. Memory. Yeah, this is later until the 2017 transformer came out. This is like a sun came out, all the stuff vanished. So it has been conquered by using the transformer to rule out any possible deep neural networks. In the future, I truly believe only two things will rule out. First one is transformer. Second will be the fusion model. The transformer, they can do the image transformation, they can do the prediction, natural language processing, yeah. And there's a VIT can be used to transform, the transformer can be used to deal with the natural language processing. VIT can be used to deal with image processing for prediction and for the generation, like again, the generative adversarial network now is again the cycle again and the something the autoencoder again or something actually. So once while there's a fusion model, it went out. It ruled it out every possible generative neural network models. All right, we take a break.拍照回去也不会看了，还是用手写。
那还是说我们生一个部门？对，那个人就生4个。
然后这2个是一起，一个起来，那个就关掉，所以要好像降这个升这一个，然后要用纸把它遮起来之类的。
看起来是。
都有。
不一定要有。
会出跟蔡老师一样。
这我不知道哎。
但是我不会全部教我教我讲那个，我有看过，是的， Hãy subscribe cho kênh Ghiền Mì Gõ để không bỏ lỡ 他说你们还没进来。
那学姐的任务就是最大的老师。
不是我问一下是。
然后下面那一份是那个让把你去一些小旁边还有那个，那里面旁边还有那个后面要去。
那会问他这张好。
好，那等一下那个
下课同学，对，教学好。
累吗？
好累，一个半是一半，两个半是
2个半，对，毕竟问他1个半小时是8分。
Alright, okay. So this is convolution originally. The CNN is quite geniusly designed since I do the filtering. There's some convolution, and the layer and the polling layer, they can automatically to filter the different level of the feature. It could be the high level features, or it's a low level feature. And automatically so like typically we look at the face, we define the item face. The item face, what is the feature of the face? Eye, nose, eyebrow, and the mouth, and the ear. So we call the item face to define the whole face. And it doesn't, however, CNN doesn't look at this way. We do the filter, we design different filter. And every time we move the pixel, 1 pixel a time to the right, and like a screening from the top to bottom, from the left to right, we call the cross filtering them. So that's called the convolution, called the filtering. And the vial convolution layer. And we like to try to enhance the feature. Like later, if you do the computer vision and try to enhance the feature, sometimes we like to identify what is the slope, what is the edge, what is the curve, and what is the line. Then we do the enhancement. To the polling enhancer. So enhancement is done by using the polling. So the polling can be maximum cooling, or we can use take the maximum pooling. Or we take the average, or we take the mode, and so on and so forth. So the different approaches. So this is end-to-end training, like we input a 1 channel or 2 channel. 1 channel, that means there's a black and white. If it is a black and white, so it is representing it's the 8-bit representation. Of a grayscale image. If it is the case, the 8-bit representation, there's a 256, right? Then the grayscale ranges from the 0 to 155. So in between will the grayscale. So the 0 corresponding to the black, totally black, right? And 255 corresponding to totally white. And the in between, so for each one, if the AB representation for this is 1, for example, this is a 512, 512. So this is every pixel from the left to right, from the top to bottom, like this, and that. So that for each pixel will fall within the range between 0 and 255. So it could be the grayscale, white, or black. So it could be 2 channel. It could be the RGB, the 3 channel. The RGB, the RGB. So how about the 4th channel? Yes. What do you think? What is the 4th channel? Li Jing. So could be what? By Professor Tsai's illustrate what is the 4th? Yeah. And could be any value, right? And what do you think?
Of course, it
can be anything. So you just add. You can define yourself. This is distant or any feature, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So RGB. And for the RGB, in addition RGB, do you think of any possible the 3 channel? No. There's another definition of the 3 channel. So there's a color. So can be define the spectrum of the color. So this is supervised training. So what is the meaning of supervised? VISED. What is the supervised learning? Homepage. Label. So the data need to be labeled. The data need to be labeled. To be labeled, so called supervised. We have an answer for each data that with the annotation, or somebody called with a label or annotation. Annotation, right? So typically, who perform the annotation? Who do that? What do you think, Daniel? Who do the annotation? Who gave the label? Engineer. Yeah, called the domain engineer. Yeah, of course, we have a semi-supervised or unsupervised learning that will be addressed later. Later, very, very late. And the image input, the data class label, the regression value label. So actually for supervised learning, so the output way is for the classification. If it is a classification, the class label. So for example, the class label, this is an image, this is a cat. No, this is a dog, or this is a cat, this is a label. Or this is a car, this is an airplane, this is a EV or something. So this is for the classification. The second, it could be automatic feature. So this is important. So end-to-end training, the most important, the automatic feature extraction. We don't need to define the salient feature by human being now. The salient going to do that automatically. Okay. The salient feature. So this is the most important capability of CNN. You don't do that, just let the computer do that. And for the second, supervised learning, classification end-to-end, and this is regression value output. So this is scalar. Called the real value output. So it could be, so typically it is scalar. It's scalar. So typically if we perform like a regression model, y equal to the a plus the bx plus the action, then there's a perform the regression analysis. And so use aggregation bias. Typically, this is based upon the car, the classification. So we would like to perform, however, we would like to predict the value, however, in terms of classification approaches or aggregation like decision tree, and the A stands for and the regression tree. So that is to say, we like to define a local refinement. We call the local refinement. If the local refinement is fine enough, then regression can turn into the regression prediction. For example, this is 0.5. 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, and the 1.0. So use a classification, right? Could be either one. So if you think it is not good enough, so like to accuracy more than that, of course we can just separate with the separation. So we can do it. There's a more refinement. The grain. Make it finer, so this is could be 0.55, and so on and so forth. And then if you think it is not good enough, you can go in further to do the separation. That's called the CART, the classification and the regression tree. That's how, even though the random forest or any regression, or any decision tree basis methodology can be used to perform the regression prediction.
Get it? 字写那么大还是照相？用手自己画。哎，孩子有没有听到？你看不到，坐这儿啊。毛病啊！看不到还坐那么后面，这个毛病。Then,
so it learns the filter. This is a filter. Filter. This is called a filter. So design different filter. The size, it could be the different size, and depends on the weight of each location of the filter. Called. Could be the size. Or the configuration. So this is a filter. Okay, right here. Okay, you learn the filter in each convolution layer right here. So that like this, finally, the whole picture is going to from layer to layer to emphasize our eye. If we compare the dog and the cat, so the filter, we use more filter. So actually the dog and the cat, what is the difference basically? What kind of feature make the dog and the cat look very different? What do you think?
The mouse.
Mouse, right? This is very sure this is wrong, right? The mouse. We have a ear as well, we have an eye, and sometimes we have a mustache. They're the same. Okay. So then, in each convolution layer and the group for time series in the image data, they can be done so naturally with the image data for sure. However, for time series, we're going to just pull it. When we pull it up into the 1D, so it depends how. So what is the pulling frequency? So it can be done this way, or it can be done this way, right? So how do you pull it? So called a one-dimensional CNN, 1D CNN. So depends. Okay, so it can be used for time series or image data. So combo. So do the combo. Sometimes it is a way too high level. We do the combo too, and so we can do the combo pulling, or combo, max pulling. Then so typical 460 by 64, and then we sometimes do the max pulling, the 64, then into the one, and the 196, and the 384, and the downside to the 256, 200, and do the max pulling, and then perform the max pulling and fully connect and drop out something trivial, something irrelevant. No, not irrelevant, the insignificant, the drop out. Called the drop out. Dropouts. Drop, that means just get it away. expel it, get it to drop out is something, since that this is so deep. When the message, we do the linear combination this long, finally some weight, not even reach until the very end of the neural network. So the weight will vanish and close to zero. So it doesn't convey the insightful information. That's why we need to drop out some. No, we don't update it. So in some cases, until the very end of the layer, some weight doesn't convey important information. So we rather drop out. Maybe take some percentage, we just drop it out. So fully connected and drop out, only attend the softmax. Softmax is like a likelihood of probability. So where there's a dog, there's a cat, or there's a horse. Yeah, then for each one, they're going to, for each image, they're going to produce the probability. For this image, maybe the softmax is a 0.5 to the horse, the 0.1 to the cat, and the 0.05 to the dog. Yeah, of course. By comparing is the corresponding softmax. So that classified as a horse, something like that. So sometimes it is like a comparing the likelihood, like a Bayesian inference, not if Bayesian. Yeah, now if Bayesian, yeah, can be classified. It's like prior times likelihood, no. And divide by empirical, and turn out to the posterior. Then they're going to assign each instance with a softmax into it's still calculate the posterior probability. We compare the multiple posterior probability, and then that will be assigned to particular class or category corresponding. So the title of the DL model, yeah, there's a VT. So supervised learning, this is a feed-forward neural network. And this input a few numbers. And the network, this is the dense encoder, that means. So going to just a string to size encoding. This is called an encoder. And then decoding. And in between, there's called a hidden layer, or somebody just referred it as latent layer. Or latent layer. So, yeah, make it bigger. So field number, dense encoding, and perform the representation. This is the data representation. This is the representation. Data. So if in the game, it's called variational inference. Yeah, too much information, right? Yeah, you guys feeling okay with that? Hey guys, you feeling okay with that? No? 太多。等一下，还可以吧，孩子？还可以吗？Okay, cool. Then, representation to the prediction. So the ground truth. Sometimes we have a label, so we know the answer. This is called the ground truth before. And the convolution neural network, the image convolution, so this is encoding. So try to find what is the feature on the face, convolution layer, and the representation output prediction. The same. So this is dense encoding. Dense encoding, that means actually we just shrink the size to the enhancement of particular feature, maybe the high level or low level. And the three recurrent, we call the R and N. There's somewhere, well, this is in the last note called the R and N. So recurrent, that means just feed it back again. So input going to be a sequence. So what is the sequence? Like this. This is the whole time series data. Yeah. So what kind of the segment you like to input into our NAND? What kind of segment? So we can input in this way. This segment might be the first second until the 10th second. Then what's next? Since they are time series, they are correlated. The time series data, that means there's a correlate. There's auto-correlate. Itself. So what do you expect? What kind of segment going to input accordingly, subsequently? Yeah, can be the 2 to 11, right? So each segment should be equal distance. So yeah, can we do that from, and next one going to be the 3 to 12, and so on and so forth. So this is segment. This is kind of input. Can we do that differently? Yeah, of course. 1 to 20. Yes, we can. How about next one? Can we do that 30 from the 11? Yeah, of course we can do that. So the overlapping. How do you define the overlapping? how overlap it can be. So it's a case by case. Very difficult to tell you what kind of overlapping you should use. Then what is the frequency? How long you're going to adopt it? That's how in the RNN and LS10. Yeah, this is a key consideration. Yeah, very difficult to decide. That's why you need to. If I like to study the stock market in Taiwan, or the stock market in New York, or you're going to analyze the time series of the climate change or the typhoon, you're going to use a different segment, right? And the different overlapping. Okay, the ground truth, so do the recurrent, so going to call it back, right? Since they are auto-correlated. That means tomorrow, like the stock market, tomorrow the index of the stock market will totally depends on the today, maybe 2 days before, or maybe the day of the last week. You don't know yet, right? And then we like to predict the temperature of this summer. We're going to predict the summer of last year and of the last 2 years. So that's why we need to have a revoke right here. Recurrent. Recurrent, that means return to the position that's corresponding to. Return to the equivalent corresponding position. Okay, next one. So, yeah, I finish this slide and let you go, right? Or keep going. Then encoder, decoder, image, it could be image, text input, etc. This is any encoder, representation, decoder, output like this. Encoding, decoding. Or in between inferential, it could be into the mixture Gaussian. Mixture Gaussian. To make it mixture Gaussian in this. So it can be used as a data representation, or use a mixture Gaussian to use a decoder to use a generative. And this one, no. So we generate the mixture Gaussian in the line time directly, then we can generate the different input instance called the replication, or we call the generative model. For synthesize the input data. So yeah, it's quite clever. And okay, let me finish this. Then unsupervised, this is autoencoder. So this is image, so text, etc. Any encoder representation. So throw away it, the network. Yeah, hold on, I'm just moved it. Have been cut. Okay. I like this graph very much. This is a good example. Throw away after training. So the autoencoder, then throw away after training. So don't worry about that. So this is encoding. So unsupervised learning. So for the GAN, also known as generally adversarial. So every time we do with the encoding in this, so do the representation. So once I will have this representation, then this get rid of the decoding one. So the generated adversarial network generates. So this is the input, also generator, and to the fake and into the fake image. Now we would like to call it is not fake. This is synthesis. Yeah, I can say it's a fake. And then we put the judge. This is like a thief. This is like a policeman. We're going to fool the policeman and say, oh, yeah, this is real. This is like a discriminator. And this is a real image that the police say that who can discriminate this is good guy or this is a bad guy. So I'm the policeman. So however, I would like to fool the policeman, even though I'm the bad guy, and I would like to convince you I'm the good guy. So this is like a discriminator and predict it is real or false. Once while, and I predict it is false, then we're going back to regenerate the image until the policeman has been convinced. Right? So this is GAM. Incoming. Go after training. Yeah, let me see how can I do it. Okay, last one. Okay, I think I still have 5 minutes. Reinforced learning networks, learning, action, value, and policy. So this is input, the environment. So totally consider as a state. It's like a Markovian decision process. So define what is the current state, where you are, what are you representing, what condition you are in. Then, and next one, this is a network, is closed loop, and any encoder. So encode by using, so you can use a LSD and the MLP, whatever. Then perform the representation. And this environment, that means they're going to predict what kind of action you should take in order to cope with the feedback, the current state, and action. Then, so this is ground truth that the reward. If you're doing good, and the reward will be positive. If you're not doing that well, the reward will be negative. So this is ground truth and negative, and feedback to the network, and to calculate the network, and to tell you what is a future action should be taken. So this is like this. And the action, whenever action is taken, the environment going to feedback you doing well or not, and then perform the the encoder representation, and to evaluate the action is good or not. Depends on the reward you got based upon the actor. So this is called the reinforced learning. Okay, I'll do the VIP next time. Okay, I'll stop you. Any question? I hope you like it. Okay, I see you next week. No, I don't see you next week. I don't see you in 2 weeks. No. So you're going to see each other in here in the following 2 weeks. All right. Yeah, read the slide, read the book. Yeah. Okay, good luck. See you.